Hello and welcome to Moneylife. This is Sucheta Dalal. This week we are going to talk about India's infrastructure building and, of course, its failures. If you recall, India has never invested so heavily in infrastructure as it has in the last decade. We've had highways, expressways, airports, tunnels, bridges, ports, all being built at record speed. They're being showcased through drone footage, videos, high profile inaugurations, and it is offered as proof that this is the infrastructure that befits the world's fifth largest economy, and India is finally building to the scale expected of it. Look at us in Mumbai, where I'm recording this from. You have Mumbai's coastal road on a reclaimed western front of the sea. There's more reclamation happening all over. The Atal Setu, a trans harbour link, which was first proposed in around 1965, was constructed in record time. The missing link, spectacular, on the Mumbai Pune Expressway. Another long overdue project, at least 25 years behind schedule, is an engineering feat through a challenging and beautiful terrain. Large expressways have now linked Nagpur to Mumbai, Mumbai to Delhi, and others nationwide have improved connectivity and reshaped landscapes. That is the good news. The darker side is that many of these projects seem to, not these, but others seem to collapse with regularity. And it's appearing on social media anytime you're scrolling down your phone. Newly built highways, expressways develop craters and cave ins within months. Bridges are collapsing, especially in Bihar, like matchsticks, and it has become so routine. Social media reels and memes about design blunders actually appear comic if they did not involve public safety and thousands of crores of taxpayers' money. Mind you, Bihar is India's poorest state. In most such cases, we never get to know who's accountable. It's almost like saying, we're building big stuff, don't ask any questions. Yeah, some things fall and break, move on. India's financial capital has two hilarious, striking, and scary examples. First, most of you would remember the rebuilt Gokhale Bridge. It was supposed to connect to the Barfiwala flyover, and when it's almost done, they discover this gap of 2 meters, a glaring gap that is discovered when the bridge is built, and instead of connecting, this is how they stand. More recently, Mira Bhainder flyover. 4 lanes at a geometric thing convert into two, sharp compression, and at an angle that is 100% traffic hazard. Both were initially defended as coordination issues, typical and brazen. They try to brazen it out. Then public outrage prompts a patchwork fix, but no meaningful consequences. Nobody is held responsible. Something had happened at Gokhale Bridge, you would not have had a problem at Mira Bhainder. You would not have a problem with the Mrinal Gore flyover. Nobody is accountable. Infrastructure failures due to natural calamities such as earthquakes, typhoons, landslides, forest fires happen all over the world. In India, we are saying, well, it happens there, it happens here. But the difference is Japan designs for earthquake activity and very heavy rain and typhoons. Northern Europe for freeze thaw cycles, extreme cold and extreme heat. Coastal cities around the world prepare for cyclones and rising sea levels. Some countries have regular tornadoes, they have typhoon seasons. We are lucky we don't even have something like this. We just have a monsoon which is sometimes heavier, like it was in the last 15 days. Climate change has heightened challenges everywhere, not just in India. It cannot excuse road disintegrating, bridges falling within months, and the bigger problem with all this is the response to these failures, the official response. There's a familiar pattern in India. Infrastructure failures seem to cause very little outrage. They are defended or blamed on climate and geology. If too many people die, there's an ex gratia payment. Some people are suspended. If there's a lot of noise, there are some arrests. All this happens only when there are high casualties. For a few days, the media is at it, and after a few sob stories, it's over, faded out, forgotten. Blacklisting of contractors is announced. Nobody follows up on whether it's permanent, whether anyone was held accountable, what happened to cases which drag on forever. all the outrage is very, very short lived. Audit reports by the Controller and Auditor General are supposed to bring this out, and they do. They are hard hitting, but they have no impact because they come 3 or 4 years later when everything is forgotten and everybody has moved on, even those who were injured. Meanwhile, the same agencies receive fresh contracts, sometimes setting up new companies, changing names, or simple make large political donations. The most disturbing aspect is how we have begun to accept this normalization of failure. Let's take a few examples. Between 2021 and 25, quite recently, an independent tally by News Laundry reported 170 bridge collapses across India with 200 deaths. The official figure was a fraction, much less. I think it was 42. Let's talk about bridge collapses. Bihar, 26 bridges have collapsed. Of these, 15 were in 1 year, 2024. Now, even in those 15, 10 bridges across 6 districts failed in one 16-day period. 16 days, 10 bridges. Can you imagine? This was in mid 2024, prompted a PIL in the Supreme Court of India. What has happened? We don't know. Has anyone been held responsible? Not that we know of. In fact, the Agwani Ghat Sultanganj bridge in Ganga is the most scandalous of the lot. It was estimated to cost 1,750 crore. It collapsed 3 times in 2022, 2023, and 2024. Initial excuses were winds, storms, but a detailed probe has actually shown that there was a design and construction problem. Yet, it never became a big national scandal. A bridge falls 3 times, it is not headlines. It does not become a Bofors. Instead, it is just reduced to memes, jokes, and viral videos. Again, Bihar is the poorest state in India. This is how money is being wasted. No action. What is worse, it is not confined to Bihar. Let's look at the Gujarat model. Like in 2022, the Morbi suspension bridge killed 135 people. What did we discover? A firm which had zero bridge engineering experience had banked the renovation contract of the bridge was 143-year-old. It was reopened without a fitness certificate, and crowds were allowed on it. So the overcrowding finally got the bridge to give way. Has anything happened? Dragging through courts. July 2025. This time last year, a 40-year-old bridge at Gambira near Vadodara collapsed in peak traffic, killed 22 people. There were warnings about its deteriorating condition which had been ignored, not for months or weeks, for years. Some officials were suspended, ex gratia payments made, matters faded away. I'm reminding you. Then you have the 594-kilometer Ganga Expressway near Ankleshwar, built at a staggering cost of 36,230 crore. It developed cracks soon after it was inaugurated by none other than the Prime Minister. This was in April 2026. Now let's come to July. After the first monsoon showers, a 7-meter cave in happened on that road. 7 meter. This is not to do with typhoons and monsoon. This is poor construction. Then, have we forgotten the 2023 Silkyara tunnel collapse? This was in Uttarakhand. 41 workers were trapped for 17 days. All of us had our attention riveted on it. We thought they were going to die. Then there was a dramatic rescue by rat hole miners. It made global news, attracted a lot of admiration for the miners. But you know what the investigation revealed? Criminal lapses in planning, execution, and cost saving omission of leaving out a crucial escape hatch that would have avoided the problem and the cost. Coverage of any accountability is minimal. In fact, ask me, I have covered or looked at the rat hole miners rescue in such great detail, interacted with them. I don't know what action has happened on those, the contractors and those who got away. This pattern of repeated failures and brazen responses points to a deeper governance issue which goes beyond technical engineering and policy issues. How did a country that once built infrastructure designed to last generations become one where Much of its new infrastructure has design flaws, poor construction, last mile planning problems, water leaking all the time soon after its commission. This city alone, all the big monuments, the BMC, the Victoria Terminus, CSMT, the museum, look at the whole district in South Bombay. It's beautiful, standing tall for hundreds of years. Nothing happens. But look at the new projects. Poor material, contractor collusion with politicians, inflated costs, weak supervision. This is typical of public works. Corruption, of course, is an obvious factor, but none of this explains why problems are worsening despite advances in engineering, AI aided design, construction technology. Everything is different, faster, bigger, and yet our construction quality goes down. What we see instead is an indecent rush for grand inaugurations, of course, always timed with elections, which compress timelines, skirt quality audits, just announce a big project, cut ribbons, and say, look at what we have done. The consequences are visible everywhere. In 2023, the CAG audit of the Bharatmala program highlighted that NHAI, the Highway Authority, approved the Dwarka Expressway civil construction at roughly 14 times the benchmark. So the benchmark was 18 crore per kilometer, it was sanctioned at 250 crore per kilometer. No justification on record. Other audits flagged irregular toll collection, weak oversight. What happens? We don't know. There's not even a public debate, even less visible corrective action. Elsewhere, such lapses trigger investigation. India is moving in the opposite direction. Instead of an investigation, embarrassment, they are defensive and aggressive. How dare you question us? The defensive narrative surrounding these infrastructure failures reached a height, not in Bihar, in Maharashtra, in the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. So on 6 July, just after a landslide had blocked the newly opened missing link on the Mumbai Pune Expressway for over 18 hours, of course, restoration began promptly despite heavier than usual rainfall. But what was surprising is the official reaction. The chief minister took such umbrage and the anger that he showed in response to criticism. He lashed out at critics, calling them hired trolls and habitual liars, out to malign Maharashtra. In fact, he warned of action against those spreading what he called misleading information. What is misleading? There was a problem, there was a landslide, it had to be corrected. And all this is deeply worrying. Citizens have every right to expect quality infrastructure and to highlight failures. We are going to make reels. We are going to put it out there. When a showpiece project like the coastal road requires constant patching, concrete slabs are falling off flyovers on vehicles and killing them. Hoardings are killing people, most of them either illegal or done with some fixing. If you then treat scrutiny as political sabotage, it only discourages accountability, which is urgently needed. This is not the way to become Vikasit. India's infrastructure story now has become one of two realities: grand inaugurations celebrated with fanfare, and failures that seem to vanish from the headlines with little follow up or systemic reform. There's a reason for it, because most mainstream media gets all the advertisements. It is not in their interest to show the negative or that there is accountability. But in any functioning democracy, the routine collapse of multi billion rupee public assets should trigger deep political reckoning and criminal accountability. Instead, there's a collective shrug. You have viral memes, people make reels, sing songs, and there's a chalta hai attitude because you're interested in eyeballs at views rather than action. And that seems to be a bigger goal, even in making reels, than in demanding accountability, making our lives safer, and complaining against shoddy work. We are now at a crossroads. The infrastructure boom has delivered visible transformation, yes, but its credibility is being eroded by shortcuts and collusion. Without a systemic overhaul, quality audit, severe penalties for lapses, and transparent blacklisting, the narrative will shift from nation building to build to fail. Frankly, our leaders need to make up their mind what they want to be remembered for. For having marquee projects, which are indeed transformative, we love the missing link. We are angry at what happened. Do you want to give us quality infrastructure? We love the Atal Setu. Look at the two ends of it. Is that what you want to be remembered for? Or do you want to be remembered for making change happen? It is up to the leadership and it's up to us to hold them accountable. If you agree, do share this video and please subscribe.